Mr. Burrows, I'm afraid I bring sad tidings.
Your uncle's passing came as a shock to all of us. Where am I?
My buddy.
Hello, welcome to Premier Scene. I'm Claire Bueno as we lift off for an out-of-the-world adventure at the UK premiere of John Carter.
With the one I love.
Our world is dying. Fate has brought you here, John Carter.
Welcome to the UK.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Yes,
We spent a lot of time in the UK shooting this movie. It's kind of a UK production.
I was going to ask about that actually. Shepperton Studios, wasn't it?
It was Shepperton and Longcross.
And Longcross, and a number of locations. But the other important thing is that all of the visual effects for the film and all of the animation for the film were created right here in London.
Yes.
What was the decision to do that?
Well, we actually were lucky enough to qualify for the British, tax rebate, tax incentive. So we, it was one of those big, like, wait a minute, what? We're going to do it in England? Okay.
It's safe to say that if it wasn't for England, this film wouldn't have been made.
Yeah. They got really behind it, and I have to say that the visual effects teams have kind of surpassed anything we could have imagined. I mean, this is obviously the biggest show I think that's come into the UK in terms of visual effects, and they were phenomenal.
You, John Carter of Earth?
Yes, ma'am.
We're here for the John Carter premiere. Were you a fan of the books?
I can't say that I was. I mean, I first heard about it when Mark Strong's an old mate of mine, and I asked him to be in Wild Bill. Unfortunately, he wasn't available, but I replaced him with Jason Fleming, I think. Don't tell Jason Fleming that. No, so...
His loss.
Yeah, his loss. Mark told me about it a while back, and I was like, that sounds great. How can I be in that? And I was like, oh, well, I've just got this great job, So I'm keen to see Mark. I always love watching Mark. He and I are, like I say, old friends. And
He's got great charisma on screen, hasn't he?
he's Mark Strong, I mean, the thing about it is he can do anything. I want to see him play a gay pub landlord or something. That's something really interesting, But the thing about Mark is he's one of our great British actors, and he's going to be that guy that in another 20 years they're giving awards to and sort of, lifetime achievement sort of stuff.
Your character, there's a mysticism to him. Is that how you saw it? A mystical character?
Yeah, he's the Holy Hecador, the leader of the Therns, this mystical race that travel the universe, shape-shifting and basically manipulating things to their own ends. I love the fact that he was a cerebral villain rather than a physical one.
Is he a villain? Did you see him as that?
No, you never play a villain as a villain, because bad guys don't think they're the bad guys. I saw him as somebody who is basically cleaning up the universe for his own ends. He sees himself as doing good, but obviously every hero needs an antagonist, and I think Matai Shang is that.
And from a storyteller's point of view, was it interesting to you to approach a Victorian story and how they viewed science fiction?
Yeah, what's brilliant about this is that it's from the novel, so unlike, generic product, which is invented just to get people interested and then you kind of CGI it and you hope people come. The source material of this is fascinating. This guy in 1910 who was a typewriter salesman, he hadn't written Tarzan yet, used to go home from his boring day job, have these flights of fantasy about not only interplanetary kind of an Earthman on Mars, but interplanetary romance, which was something that was also new. And who would have thought that over 100 years later we'd be here, watching this movie?
What happened to this place?
A new power threatens to destroy our city.
That don't look like a fair fight. You are ugly, but you are beautiful. You will fight for us!
You've got a fantastic cast. Many British, I have to say.
A huge British cast, I know.
Predominantly British cast.
Yeah, we won the British lottery in the casting. I mean, literally, and that was done prior to knowing that we were going to be shooting in the UK. I mean, it was done completely separately from that. So we have everybody. I mean, we have Dominic West and James Purefoy and Kieran Hines and Sam Morton and Polly Walker. I mean, you name it, we got them. So we were really, really lucky.
And you also shot in Utah as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience and what that meant to the production?
One of the things that we really wanted to do was have it feel utterly believable. So all of the characters are always on sets. There's not synthetic sets. And when when it was calling for desert scenes, we wanted to have it be the real thing. So we shot for 3 months in Utah to do all the exteriors, and it really paid off. We did little tiny manipulations to the landscape to make it be Mars, but 85% of it's real, and you can really tell when there's real stuff under people's feet and it's not synthetic.
There's tactileness to it, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And I think, honestly, too, we looked everywhere to try to find some of those settings. And I think Utah was, in the same way that England was unique in a lot of ways, Utah was really uniquely qualified to offer us such a variety of different looks that we could actually shoot the entire kind of Martian desert exterior landscape in one state was pretty amazing.
And the landscapes in Utah actually are very similar to the ones on Mars. We now know thanks to the Mars rover.
Get on. We did not cause this, but this very night, we will end it!
The fact that you're playing a character that's so much taller, did you have to overemphasize your performance to encompass that?
No, because I'm wearing 3-foot stilts, so I am 9 feet tall when I'm playing the scenes. And to be towering over everybody when you're doing the scenes does have a definite effect on how you behave.
Thank you very much.
Ask any tall man.
Thank you.
Or woman.
Am I right in saying you found a dinosaur bone?
Oh, we found several. Not officially, but no, they were doing dinosaur digs, like literally right over there, and we're like, what's that?
One of our crew members found such a big leg bone that they closed us down and made us move to another little location so the paleontologists could come in and kind of protect it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We were literally, when we knew we were out truly in the middle of nowhere. We're like, there are Mars rover competitions happening over here, they're digging for dinosaur bones over here, and we're shooting a movie over here. It was very odd.
And Andrew Stanton, what did he bring as a director to this role as well?
Not much, really.
No,
and Andrew, the first great thing that Andrew did was really kind of crack this story, take this big epic and figure out a way to tell it on the screen. And many have tried to do it, and nobody's quite come up with a way to do it. But I think the other thing he brought was his fantastic storytelling skills and his penchant for telling human stories and stories that have human emotion in them and are about, redemption and saving oneself. And I think that's what he really brought. And love.
He's a big softie in the middle there, that
Yes,
Mr. Stanton. And so I think he's actually written another great love story. I think Wall-E was obviously a great love story, and I think John
Nemo is too.
Nemo is too, in a way, a father's love. Yeah, and I think and this one is no different in the sense that I think Andrew at his core is a romantic, and I think he doesn't approach any film without coming at it from a kind of human and romantic standpoint.
Welcome to the UK.
Thanks for having me.
It's
Definitely not my first time here.
and I hope it's not going to be your last.
No, I'm back quite a bit.
Well, we're hoping you're back as well for, is it Battleship?
Yeah. You bet. I'm sure we'll be back.
And what about this film, John Carter? 98% is it of the stunts you did?
Yeah, I'd like to say something like that. I did have an amazing stunt guy too, though, so I have to give him props. But yeah, especially with John Carter, there's so much out of John Carter that you get through the action. And that means a lot, playing the guy, that emotion that does come out through the action. So you want to play all that.
Well, I was wondering as well, because as soon as the film starts, you know that John Carter's had a history. And I just wondered what kind of backstory you'd given to him.
Yeah, I live in Austin, Texas, and I studied the Civil War with historians at University of Texas and in Texas. And then I read hundreds of letters from these Civil War veterans that they would write home, and then just immerse myself with that.
And how did you find sort of shooting over here? Was it almost like a parallel to being on another planet?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that intense. But jet lag is no joke, so it took me a while to get used to it. But no, I loved it, man. The crew was incredible. I mean, this cast is like 90% Brits, so they're amazing. So I learned a lot from these guys.
I believed it was a sign that something new can come into this world.
Our night may be over, but it's only just beginning here. I'm Claire Bueno, and you're watching Premier Scene.